oh, here we go. No. I can't put alarms for a subscribed calendar. Okay? I think that's going to change because I think it's not good.
Subscribed calendar?
It subscribes. What it means is, if you put a calendar and event in, it's it's like writing it on a calendar. In a subscribed calendar, this is subscribing to the address book, and so if I change, actually not through the internet, through your computer, but kind of the same thing, like to the cloud, it will go get any birthdays that are in your address book. So if you have birthdays for 30 people in your address book, they'll show up in iCal. You can't pick and choose.
How do you differentiate between your calendar and your subscribed calendar? Did you show us that?
No, it's a little bit gray, but what happens is if I enter, no, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to be on a different calendar. Untitled. If I put on here birthday, I can enter all the information I want for it, and I physically put it in the calendar, and I would say repeat every year. Okay, that's to physically put it in. If I want to use the address book birthdays, I have to go into preferences because there's two separate programs. So it's telling here, go into address book and put it here, but it is only like a reference. If I went in and changed the birthday in address book, it would change it here. On the if you did it on iCal as an event, you have to physically change it.
Okay, so that's what you call your subscribed calendar.
Yes. And the reason it's called a subscribed calendar is because if you'll notice, I have also U.S. holidays here. Because Apple ships these computers with all the nation's languages on them, there might be people that celebrate certain holidays they don't put any holidays on here. So we go to we have to find a subscription. Now, the subscription subscribes to my address book, but U.S. calendars or U.S. holidays is out on the internet. So if I want to find subscriptions, I go up to calendar and say find subscriptions. And these are things, and subscription can do one of two ways. What happens is MotoGP, here's a good example. The MotoGP World Championship calendar. That is going to change every single year. So if you subscribe to a calendar that is ongoing, because next year's season isn't set yet, the subscription will probably update it next year when they do it, if it's from the same provider. So let's see here. I can't believe they don't do a great search here, but we hit U.S. holidays. And of course it doesn't. Let's go to most popular.
You can get 49ers.
Yeah.
So subscribe basically means a pre-made thing that you just import wholesale.
Yes, but I want to show you a difference here. Notice how the moon calendar shows its ICS, and so does the pagan calendar, but the French holiday calendar shows this. One is a subscription that is going to go throughout the years, and an ICS is a file that downloads to your computer that has the dates on it. So it's probably going to be a limited time. So instead of being a subscription, it would actually add a calendar. Let's do both of those. Let's download that one.
Is there a cost associated with it?
No, those are all free. Why did it take me to docs? Oh, I know why. Okay. Download linked file.
Does it tell you when it's 5 o'clock?
And I'm going to go here. Well, you know what's funny is I was in Monument Valley in Utah, and I wanted to make sure I was up for sunrise, and I used this to check First, I wanted to see when the moon was going to come up because I wanted to take some photos of the moon, and I wanted to check sunrise, so I would be up for the sunrise. And the app on here was wonderful. It showed me the direction and everything else. So the computer's great, but the iDevices like the iPad and the iPhone can actually do more because it has GPS built in.
What app is that?
The one for the sun location and everything is called Sun GPS. I don't know if it's free or not, but then I just got some sort of moon calendar. It shows the phase of the moon and shows you where the moon's going to come up. I was really lucky. The moon was a sliver of a moon, and it came up an hour before sunrise. And I've got a picture of the moon right above one of the big monument things. It was great.
GPS?
Sun GPS is the one. For instance, I'm putting I have to put make a patio cover for my backyard, and I'm going to put the 2x6s up on the edge, and I want it to block the sun a certain amount. So I've charted the sun through the summer to see the angle of the sun, not where it is during the hot part of the day, and the azimuth and how high it is, so I can figure out those angles so that I can have it still be open but still shade everything I need to. So it's a wonderful device.
And the moon one?
I'll have to look up the moon one here. So it looks like these calendars that I downloaded, there it is. See, enter the URL of the calendar. So it's a web cal. So I'm going to subscribe to one, and it's in French. Okay. And there it is. So it's a subscription, and now it shows you French holidays. The other one I downloaded, I don't know if it's going to work. It's not. It was a file. That was the pagan holidays, okay? So, but you just go and get subscriptions. If you have particular ones, I can help you guys find it. You can email me. I can give you a link. But these French holidays, I can deselect them, or I can simply highlight it and delete it. Now, again, it's a subscription, so it will go out through the years and see what it is. I'm going to edit.
Question.
Go ahead.
On going back to the birthday alarms, how does it know it's a birthday, not just a meeting?
It doesn't do alarms, first of all. It'll put it on your calendar. It goes into address book and finds it, but it obviously only brings in the one that you gave them birthdays to. So you have to.
Category for birthday?
Yep, let's go back to that really quick.
I can't see that.
In birthdays, or in the address book, there's a birthday. But if we go to one that doesn't have a birthday, it doesn't even show up, see?
Okay.
Can you put somebody's name in and give them your birthday?
You can do whatever you want. You can send me birthday cards if you want. All right. So subscriptions are a little ubiquitous, but it's useful. There's some great help screens. I'll tell you, this is another thing with the Mac. It's gotten so good. iCal help. I can type in holiday. And subscribing to calendars right there. You can type real world just sentences. How do I do this? And it says here, subscribing to calendars. Shortcut, calendars, subscribe. Enter the URL. It tells you right to do it there. So use the help screens in the Mac, in the Apple stuff. It's gotten very, very good. Now, to-do items are different than calendar items. To-do items, you set it. Sometimes you do a completion by date, but realistically, it's going to float. So if we go down to here, this shows our to-dos. Am I on my calendar? Oh, that's weird. Oh, I know why. We're on my mobile me. So I can add. I can do new event, new to-do. Let's go. I have to be on again, it didn't let me because I'm on a subscribed calendar. Let's go to our untitled, and I can go to new to-do. So this will be teach class. And I can enter it. Here's the information on it. I can give it priority, and I can double click on it, and I can put information here on it. I can tell alarms, I can put a due date, I can put priority, and when it's completed I can hit a checkbox there, or I can simply hit a checkbox here. So that's your to-do list. You need that a little slower? All right. First off, you have to be on a calendar. I'm going to use my untitled. New to-do. Okay? There the new to-do went, and I'm going to title it test. I have it in. I need to double click on it to bring up the edit screen. I can rename it however I want. I can set a due date of 10/4/2011. I can do all the same alarms I did with the calendar, and I can file it under whichever calendar I want. Notice the subscribed calendars are grayed out, and I can attach notes and do everything else here on a to-do. Once I've completed the to-do, I simply check it, and then it doesn't go forward. It gets done. I can also highlight it and just, highlight it and delete it. It's a list that stays in the side of your calendar, and for most Google and everything else, it'll sync with all your devices.
If you don't do it in May, will it go over the...
Yes, it goes, it stays, like this Brian Nelson one, look at, I did this one as an example. Oh, I don't have the date on it, but yes, it will continue until you say completed or until you delete it. So it will continue to haunt you. So I don't put a lot of things there because or you can go down and you can tell it hide to do. The little thing right here. Sweep it under the rug. Doesn't exist. Okay? So that's to-dos. To be honest, there are some other applications out there. You usually look for things like GTD. Getting things done are the type of applications. I think to-dos are going to get improved a bit. It's the good to-do programs will probably put things up on your screens a little more readily. There are some that you can just touch up on your menu bar and bring it down to view your to-dos in order. If you're using iCal a lot, there's a neat app called MacNexusiCal. I have not purchased it yet, but I will be. Well, actually, I'm waiting to see what happens with Mobile Me. I want to say it's... I'll look. So this is the new App Store if you're on 10.6.6 or newer. This is how we'll be buying all our applications from here on out. MacNexusiCal right here, $19.99. It is a wonderful calendar. The beauty of it is you can say meeting 10 o'clock next Tuesday is what you type in, and it knows you mean that, and it sets everything so you don't have to go to that cumbersome here's the date, here's the time, etc. So MacNexusiCal, it's $20. I don't usually hype many products. This has been out fairly recently, and it's pretty cool. And it works with your iCal. It's not to replace iCal. It's essentially another way to input to iCal. So all the things that you can do in iCal, you can do. This is just an easier way to interface. And the question was, will it sync? Yes, it does, because it is iCal. Okay. Bento, by the way, which we mentioned earlier, does sync with the iCal too, and it kind of does the same whole thing. Okay, data detectors, those we saw, that's wonderful. Publish or share your calendar. You can go into preferences and, I want to say show birthdays calendar and accounts, advanced, hang on, I never share my calendar. Oh, it might be. There it is. So highlight your calendar and control or secondary click on the calendar, and you can then share that calendar. And when you share the calendar, you can name it whatever you want, and you can do one of two things. You can publish, which means it's read only, so people can only see your calendar and they can't set appointments for you, and you can share only, or you can share with only people you invite, and then when you put their names in, you can tell them what kind of privilege they have. They can read and write. Oops. There's my name from my address book. We'll say that test can use it.